Hi everybody, today is March 3rd, 2013. China deal benefits Obama donors. Administration approved takeover by Chinese oil company provides Obama backers windfall. The government watchdog group, Judicial Watch, is suing the Treasury Department for records pertaining to the department's decision to grant a Chinese government-backed company access to oil deposits in the Gulf of Mexico, a move that will benefit Obama donors. The Chinese National Offshore Oil Corporation, CNOOC, reached a definitive agreement with Nexen Incorporated, a Canadian energy company, announced on July 23, 2012, to buy all of the company's outstanding public shares. Nexen has holdings in the Gulf of Mexico and Canada, giving the Chinese government access to millions of barrels of Keystone, XL, and Gulf reserve oil. So you gotta remember that Keystone is now linked up with China. Nexen's holdings in the Gulf, coupled with the Chinese government's ownership of CNOOC, meant the Treasury Department's Committee on Foreign Investments in the United States had to approve the takeover, which it did on February 12th. This needs to be shared with those who want to push the Keystone project. The secretaries of several major executive departments, including Treasury, State, Defense, and Homeland Security, sit on the committee. Judicial Watch filed a Freedom of Information Act request for information on the deal in November, but the Treasury Department did not reply within the mandatory 20 days. Why am I not surprised? Judicial Watch then filed suit on February 14th to get access to the documents. Judicial Watch noted that several prominent fundraisers and donors to President Barack Obama's 2012 campaign stood to make a windfall profit from the Chinese corporation's expansion in their press release announcing the suit. David Shaw, founder D.E. Shaw & Company, which massively increased its shares in Nexen in the third quarter of 2012, according to the SEC reports. Nexen's stock rose almost 50% in the week of the announcement, which was early in the third quarter. Shaw bundled between $200,000 and $500,000 for the Obama campaign in 2012. He also sits on a presidential advisory council, Judicial Watch noted. D.E. Shaw & Company did not return a request for comment. Frank Brunson, another prominent Democratic supporter who stood to gain significantly from the merger. His firm, Tectonic Capital, bought at least 6 million shares in Nexen in the third quarter of 2012, but sold almost all of them by the end of the year. Tectonic did not return a request for comment on their investment strategy. Bronson's, like Shaw, had close ties to the current administration. He was reportedly Treasury Secretary Tim Ginther's first choice to run the bailout program in 2009, and was a major donor to the Democratic National Committee in the 2012 cycle. He also bundled between $200,000 and $500,000 for Obama's campaign in 2012. Judicial Watch also pointed out several other organizations with close ties to the administration stood to gain from the merger. The lawsuit comes as the president's campaign apparatus turned dark money advocacy group has come under scrutiny for providing donors access to the president. We've all heard if they donate a certain amount of money, they can shake his hand. With one ill-chosen action, the Obama administration has managed to undermine our strategic interests and reward its corporate cronies, said Tom Frinton, president of Judicial Watch, in the release statement. The Treasury Department, of course, did not return requests for comment. So Nexen has holdings in the Gulf of Mexico now, and Canada, because it's now owned by the Chinese, giving the Chinese government access to millions of barrels of Keystone and Gulf reserve oil. Are you going to allow the Chinese to do deep water drilling? Would their drill sites be safe? I've always said action speaks louder than words. Talk is cheap. And many of you should know how Chinese steel is inferior. Would they be using Chinese steel for their oil rigs? Makes you wonder. Would the Chinese government be trusted for our environmental concerns while drilling there in the Gulf? They don't have a very good record for protecting the environment, do they? Look at Beijing. Look at the pollution. Alright, bookmark my site. I'll keep everyone up to date. Please stay safe, and I'll talk to you later. God bless you. Bye.